just for us today, as well as celebrating the beautiful life and ministry of Rev Michelle. So I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for Larissa, for all the ministers, for each of you who came to celebrate, her family, her sons, her sister. I'm grateful for the chance for each of us to come together in community and remember who we are. So as I release this word, this prayer into the law, we all know it has already been heard and answered in the mind of the divine. There's nothing more to do but let go, let God, and we say together. And so it is. Amen. A couple introductions to do here. Sorry, Linda. I think this is next. We have many people who have traveled far, and I'm going to introduce two of them right now. And I think Reverend Linda will take care of the rest. Josh Reeves, on the end there, Reverend Josh Reeves has been a minister since 2006. He's served as the lead, or one of the two lead ministers at Mile High Church in Colorado, which many of you may know is the biggest CSL church in our movement. So this is a powerful man here and a powerful ministry. He's served there for the past 3 years. He also served as the senior minister at Seal Beach, which is where Rev Michelle met him. It's also where I met him. My sister Kristen had Namaste Center for Spiritual Living offices right down, just in the same shopping mall, I guess you'd say, shopping center as Josh. And so Josh was a mentor to me, too, when I was in school. And let's see, Josh has written several books that you can find at themeaningplace.org. Rev Michelle has said, he has said that it's been such a joy to be part of her ministerial journey. And by the way, Josh is married to a beautiful partner named April, and they are raising 2 children, 17-year-old Gavin and almost 4-year-old Nancy. Welcome, Josh. Yeah, bookends. So glad you're here. One of the things we were talking about as we prayed in the library is it's amazing when we have a celebration like this. We get ministers from all over that are connected, and there's interconnections among many of us from different parts of our journey, so it's just very, very precious. Reverend Dr. Pat Campbell, who is next to Michelle here, will also be one of the main presenters today. She's been in ministry close to 25 years. Bless you, Dr. Pat. She's served as the spiritual director of the Calvary Center for Spiritual Living for almost 10 years, Calvary, Canada. Prior to that, she was the spiritual director for Center for Spiritual Living in Temecula Valley, which is where she and Rev Michelle met. She was Rev Michelle's teacher, and I think we're going to hear a little bit more about that later. If you know Rev Pat, you know that she has a bit of a sense of humor. Doesn't mean a minister has to be a stuffed shirt. In 2010, Rev Dr. Pat wrote and published her book, Giving God a Good Time. Perfect title for you, Rev Pat. And let's see. Dr. Pat is known for her ability to make the teaching accessible to people from all walks of life. How important is that? Through humor, yes, personal stories, and a deep conviction in the principles of science and mind. She lives in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, with her 2 cats, Tom and Jerry. And I'm going to ask Rev Michelle to come up to just augment what these 2 folks have meant to her before Reverend Linda comes up and we proceed. Rev Michelle.
Thank you all for being here. I feel incredibly blessed and honored by each of you. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So this spiritual journey has been a wild journey, and I'll keep this part short. I couldn't have done it without my friends and my family and my mentors. And as you might hear a little bit tonight, I can be a handful. I have a lot of questions. I'm very passionate, and some say I might have a challenge with authority. So I just really give kudos to my mentors that held this amazing, beautiful space for me that made all the difference in the world and helped me bloom into becoming a minister and now an ordained minister. Rev Pat, when I first started, I had found this teaching in books, and I went to the center and I heard her talk about giving God a good time, I'm like, that's my minister. That's my minister. I'm home. And I went through all my classes and all my practitioner training with her, and I just feel incredibly grateful. And then moving into ministerial school, which I have my fellow students here, and that was a wild ride too, and it was amazing. And during that time, I had so much going on in my life, and Reverend Josh Reeves, I was a practitioner at his spiritual center in Seal Beach, and he held amazing space for me during that time, and he showed me the beauty of becoming a minister and working with amazing people and supporting and being supported. And then once I completed ministerial school, he held amazing space for me on my ordination path. And holding big space for me is not an easy job. These ministers, it's like, Michelle, did you fill your report out yet? And I'm incredibly grateful for that. And then to have Rev Kimberly and Dr. Reverend Linda Rapon here helping me continue and finish my ordination path and holding space and loving me, as well as the rest of the ministers here. I just feel so incredibly grateful, and I am blessed to be here, and I am here because of all the support that I've received over the years. So I'll hand it over to Dr. Reverend Linda Rapon.
Good evening. I want to talk to you just a little bit about what this thing called ordination is, because it's different in every path. I was in Pacific School of Religion when I was working on my doctorate with people from United Methodist Church and the Congregational Church, and in many of those churches, when they got their MDiv and graduated, they got ordained that day. They didn't have any idea what ministry was like, but they were it now. And for those of you who don't know, if you want to do weddings and funerals, you can like just buy one online and be ordained that way. It's in our path, it's quite a different path. It is, so even to get to being a licensed minister, it is a journey that carries you through about 3 years of classes usually, and then 2 years of practitioner studies before you can apply to ministerial school, which is 2 to 5 years, depending on how fast you do things. After which you get to sit for a panel that approve you to become a licensed minister. Then you have to serve like 2 to 3 more years before you're eligible to be ordained, and in Michelle's case, maybe a few more years than that. Not to be eligible. She was eligible a long time before she said yes. And it's a pretty deep path. And by the time you get to ordination, you're really clear. And what the clear is, to me, is the act of ordination is, for this lifetime, God, I'm yours. For the rest of this life, this is it. So for a nun, this would be final vows. This is the last moment to run. You're gonna go now. Because that is the devotional path. And I want to just tell you that I learned this a long time ago, actually right around my own ordination, is there is a portal that people step through into this ordained life. And it usually happens at the ordination. Maybe it's the day before, maybe it's the next day, but a lot of times it happens right here in this ceremony. And if you're paying attention, you will sense that something energetically shifted because Michelle has stepped through that door into a life that is beyond. And I will say for me, the life of an ordained minister is beyond. It is really, it's a wild ride because I didn't say, I want to do this. Are you on, God? Can we do this? No, that's not how it works at all. How it works is I'm just floating along through life having a really good time, and God says, do this. I'm like, I did say yes. All right, I'll do it. And that's really what the ride is. It is the yes is already given before the call comes. Now, I believe that we're all called, that this is not a special thing for ministry. We are all called to the life that our soul chose before we came here. That's how I believe it works. And, dispute me. We'll know on the other side, maybe. So we all said yes, initially. And then in the course of life, the calling that I think is true for every single one of us is to hear Spirit's call into who am I to be today? Who am I to be on this journey? And for those that are called into this thing we call ministry, that is a devotional path. It is a yes that started a long time ago and continues to unfold. And it unfolds in the yes. It unfolds in a path that I did not choose of my own will, but I surrendered into a deeper will to allow it to take me. If anybody's out here sort of thinking, maybe this is for me, somebody said to me very early in this journey, if you think maybe you're called, run like hell. And if it catches you, it's yours. It's yours to do. So I will say that I believe it is the greatest journey of a lifetime. And I'm so, so grateful not only to be walking this path myself, but to get to stand witnesses to people like this who are stepping into, she already fills enormous shoes in the world. She does big, huge things all over the place. And I cannot wait to see what happens next. I'm here to watch. Thank you. I am going to introduce people as they come up, just so you know who's who. Larissa is, if you're from the Rogue Valley, is probably not a stranger. People know this voice around here. I do anyway. Don't you think everybody knows who you are? Anyway, long-term friend of Michelle's and a fabulous musician to join us tonight. Turn it over to Larissa.
Paramahansa Yogananda wrote a little ditty called Listen, Listen, Listen to My Heart's Song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. And I first heard this as a child, and I really felt like it was the presence of God singing to me, speaking to me, reminding me that I was always comforted. But as I went through life, what I realized that this song has a lot to do with listening to our own heart, listening to our own heart song, and realizing who we are in this life, like realizing our gifts that we came in to share. And through sharing, we receive ourselves, as Michelle is doing through saying yes to her soul's mission and listening to her song. So as I sing this today, I invite you to sing with me again. It's so much more fun when we sing together. And I like to throw in Om Shreem Maha Lakshmiye Swaha as well. Say with me, Om Shreem Maha Lakshmiye Swaha. And the reason why I like to throw this mantra into this as well, I like to mix things up a lot in life, is because Lakshmi is the energy in your belly, which represents your realization of your gifts in this lifetime, the abundance. We think of her as the abundance of money, but it's truly about the abundance of love and your gifts. That's the deeper connection to Lakshmi. And it is you. Lakshmi's not just out there, it's within ourselves, within our own navel center. So I invite you to sing with me. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. Lakshmi Swaha Om Shri Lakshmi Swaha Om Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha Om Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha Om Shri Lakshmi Swaha Om Shri Lakshmi Swaha. Listen, listen, listen to my song. Listen, listen, listen to my song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my song. Listen, listen, listen to my song. Listen, listen, listen to my song. Listen, listen, listen to my
Reverend Catherine McKinney has a unique relationship to Michelle because she was both a ministerial classmate and their dean. So she's got big roles, and now she's the interim minister at Redondo Beach. But I know that it means a whole world to Michelle that Reverend Catherine was able to be here this weekend. Catherine McKinney.
As you might note in your program, I'm invited to do a reading that Reverend Michelle has chosen, and I will do that. And before that, I just wanted to read greetings from Redondo Beach and from support from classmates who cannot be here, who send their love and know that all is well with you. But more importantly, the teacher that we had also sends her greetings, and I am going to share with you what she has to say. Lost it on my phone, but it's here. Most dear and wonderful Reverend Michelle, I have been thinking about you since I heard about your ordination from Reverend Catherine. So very sorry I can't be with you for the ceremony, but I am in your mind and your heart. This is a landmark point in your ministry. Congratulations and well done. The community you serve is a richly blessed community. You are a minister of amazing talent, dedication, and mindfulness, and deep commitment. Richest blessings to you, and through you, as you enter this new phase of your ministry. I will be thinking of you tonight and probably wishing I were there. I am, however, with you in spirit, and I know it will be a wonderful ceremony and celebratory experience for you and for all. May you always feel the support of spirit as you minister to the congregation. Enjoy your night. It was a wonderful time, and Dr. Moira would be here if she could, and I am here in her behalf. And so for the poem that Reverend Michelle has chosen by Mary Oliver, entitled Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal voice of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of rain are moving across landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Wherever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.
I want to introduce two more classmates of Michelle's. And I just have to say, I think Dr. Moira had her hands full with these three. I'll leave Reverend Catherine out of this because I think she was more well-behaved, but I know these two are trouble. I am thrilled to have them here. Reverend Cheryl Bell and Reverend Stacy Hilton are co-ministers in Las Vegas, and they're here today to share this day with us.
Gee, I can't imagine why she thinks that. You know, I'm going to read this, and you will know, if you don't already know who Michelle is. Because when I read this, this is what I thought of. I thought of her instantly. Don't just go through life, grow through life. Don't just be good. Be good for something and someone. Goodness heightens beauty. Become who you are meant to be. Seek out knowledge and experience. The more we see, the more we are capable of seeing. The more we do, the more we are capable of doing. If you want change, begin it. If you want love, give it. If you want hope, embody it. Start immediately and do it flamboyantly. Once you've begun, don't turn back. Change and growth can be painful and challenging at times. But as Laura, I don't know who she is, but as Lauren Bond said, every flower has to go through a lot of dirt. Life is about choices, growth, and taking chances. It is about pushing through and moving forward. It is about loving courageously and not holding back. It is about finding a brighter, better way. You owe it to yourself and to the world to make the most out of the stuff that's in you. Bloom into your incredibly, gloriously, brilliantly beautiful self. And I only read that yesterday morning. And I'm like, I'm going to read that. And I cried yesterday. I didn't cry today, thank goodness. But it, especially the flamboyance, when We were probably a handful. Probably. And Michelle was the leader of that. If I may say so myself. Because there are terms that we picked up from her. One is, and we still say it to this day, Stacy and I, it's when something happens and we think of it, I guess I can explain it as that's serendipitous. Say the word.
Serendipitous.
Serendipitous. So the phrase we say is, God is a crack up. We got that from Michelle. We still say it and people look at us like, oh, what? What? And so you're with us all the time. You're in my mind, in my prayers. You're just, I mean, you are part of me. I mean, whether you like it or not.
Rev Michelle, my sister.
My
Yeah.
sister.
Yeah. Quote by Catherine Butler Hathaway. It is only by following your deepest instinct that you can lead a rich life. And if you let your fear of consequence prevent you from following your deepest instinct, then your life will be safe, expedient, and thin. I read that in this book called Bloom, which I picked up after you told me the theme. Had no idea. I don't even know where this book came from. But one of the stories I want to share with you about Rev Michelle, prior to her being Rev Michelle, she just walked in and she just has that swag, you know? And she's just full of confidence. And if you hear all that she's done in life prior to going to this thing called ministerial school, it's just like, yeah, she just got it, right? And then you had the Redondo Beach folks, and then there's Las Vegas. And not to compare, but there was just, there was just that. And I don't know, sometime almost towards the end, Rev Michelle was kind of going through life, through lifey stuff. And my prayers just were there. We did hold the space. And I just thought, man, if she can't do it, I don't know. Not sure. The day the test came, we had a written exam on a computer that's about 8 hours. And we sat across from one another, and we sat there and we typed this crazy test. And I got to Bible stuff, and I'm a kid of religious science, and I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know. And then Reverend Michelle's computer crashed. About 6 hours in? 2 hours in. And I thought, well, she's going to quit then. Surely, why bother? And I watched her with the grace and the ease and the hand holding by Dr. Moira. And she came back and she redid that test.
Started over. Yeah.
And I thought, wow. The authenticity, the commitment, the dedication, the love, the vulnerability that this woman shows as a minister is who I want to be when I grow up. Thank you for saying yes.
Yes.
Thank you for being who you are.
Yes.
Because you mean the world and you are doing great things. I love you, my sister.
So, I too have quite a history with this incredible, beautiful soul. I met Michelle in Temecula at Reverend Pat's church. And when she first came up to me, I just was so moved by her beingness. You know, she's so vibrant, so just like knows what she wants. And I immediately was just like, oh, this is going to be somebody really special in my life. And she reached out to me to do work. I'm a transformational life coach, and we did some really deep work together. And what is so beautiful about this soul and I know that I'm not telling you something you don't know, but I get to share from my own experience, is that this woman is so committed to growth and to facing her fears, just to like if there's things that she's afraid of, she walks right towards them. Like a lot of people will walk away, instead she goes, God, okay, here we go. And she walks right into them. She is a force of nature, but a force of nature with the most incredible heart. She's inspiring. Like for somebody who coaches, people tend to come and they look up to me. And in this situation, it was like, man, this woman is on fire. And I always have looked up to her. It was this amazing experience of sitting with Spirit. The two of us sitting with Spirit and completely opening up to Spirit and letting the magic and the mystery just come into the space. Like so much magic, so much we've had extremely mystical experiences because of the alchemy. I am so proud of you and what you continuously step into and say yes to life, to grow in every possible way. This talk could not be more perfect for you. To bloom. Because you are the epitome of blooming in this life. And when I didn't realize I was going to be doing so many songs today. But what it did is it gave me this opportunity. There's a song that I haven't sang in a while. And it just reminds me of Michelle so much. And so I feel like I really need to sing this song in honor of who she is and how I experience her in this life. And yes, I drove all by myself. I was going to have a driving partner, but I drove all by myself from Long Beach, California to be here. And I faced my own fears of driving all by myself. Because that's who you are to me, is we face our fears. We step outside of our comfort zone to continue to grow all the time. Shoo. So, oh my goodness. I love you, sister. I breathe in love. I breathe in life. I am the earth, the wind, the sun, the sea, the light. I breathe you in so I can grow. I let the magic of your stars come crashing in my soul. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. I breathe you in so I can grow. I let the magic of your stars come crashing in my soul. I let the magic of your stars come crashing in my soul.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. It's been really wonderful to hear all of these tributes to Reverend Michelle, and I'm going to tell you how it really was. And thinking back, I think it's been 20 years. I think we decided that it had been 20 years since Michelle came into my center in Temecula, California. It was a little tiny little group of people. And she came in with Michael and Ryan. Now, I'm remembering them being about 4 and 5 years old, but apparently they were like 14 and 15 years old. And, you know, they're full-grown men now, so they've grown like 20 years older, but I haven't. So I'm just saying that. Her introduction, when she shared it with me, her introduction to the teaching was Neil Donald Walsh, who I understand some of you know. Yeah, okay. And the Conversations with God books. And like I said, we were a pretty small group, but Michelle just took to us like a duck to water. It wasn't long before she registered in classes, and let me just say something about that. Those of you who have been students of Reverend Michelle, I hope that you're a little bit naughty, because she certainly was. I hope you are questioners of authority, because she certainly was. I hope you also question the teaching in order to make sure that it fits with your core values, because she certainly was. And I hope you fall in love with the teaching and find ways to apply it in your life, because she certainly did, from everything that we've heard about her. Because she threw herself into this teaching like nothing I'd ever seen before, not only as a student and became a practitioner in our center, but she was also a board member, and she was a teen advisor. She was not a yes person on the board. I know you find that hard to believe, because she had this knowledge and she had this skill from working with the Boys and Girls Club, and she wasn't afraid to ask the hard questions and to make the hard decisions. She was instrumental in getting our teen program going, because when I'm just looking at her sons, and they're like nodding their heads, because what's so beautiful about this teen program that we had going in Temecula is that these guys are still friends with people that they met in teen group 20 years ago. But we didn't have a place for the teens at that time. And I remember saying to them, if you guys just hang in there and meet in the parking lot under a pop-up tent in the middle of summer, which is pretty comparable to the middle of summer here, I promise you that we will have a room dedicated to you. And so many people were like, we could use that room for this and that and the other when we finally built it out. And I said, no, this is for the teens. And Michelle was absolutely instrumental in that, because she wanted her sons to get the teaching as well. She became part of the leadership for Religious Science International, our former organization. And she became involved in the, and actually, I was wrong about this. We discussed this last night. I don't like being wrong, but I'm going to admit it here. I thought that you were involved with Malawi. No. So never mind. I'm not even going to talk about that. But I do know I know she's been to Africa a bunch of times, and I thought it was to build schools for Malawi, but what do I know? Now, I really want you to hear this part because this is really key. Reverend Michelle was a practitioner student with my older sister, who is also a questioner of authority. I just want that one to sink in. My older sister, and I was their teacher. And yeah, all right. Talk about questioners of authority. A little bit, maybe a little bit like toddlers that would always ask, why? Why? My answer was because Ernest Holmes said so. And I owe them a debt of gratitude because Michelle and my sister Beth and Michelle's great good friend Crystal McGon, also a ministerial student, really helped me to hone my skills as a teacher. So I do owe you a debt of gratitude for that. Michelle was so in love with this teaching that she would get up super early in the morning and she would drive to Agape in Los Angeles for their early service. And then she would come back. And I mean, we're talking like a 2.5-hour drive in LA traffic. And then she would come back to teach the teens or to be involved in whatever it was. So after she became a practitioner, she and Crystal decided to go through ministerial training with Reverend Moyer. It was nice to hear from her. Oh, it was nice to hear from her. And that was also quite a long drive. However, Michelle moved to Seal Beach, and she became Reverend Josh's authority. At some point in her life, she took on a new role with the Boys and Girls Club and had to move away from Temecula. It was very sad. It was very sad for us. And even though I'm no longer her mentor or her teacher, I would like to think that I am her friend and maybe a mentor still. Maybe, if only on Facebook. I've watched and I've celebrated her journey, of which many of you have heard a lot about it today. And when she asked me to participate in this well-deserved ordination, it's about time, I said that I would find a way. I would just find a way, despite COVID and distance and travel challenges and everything, because I'm so proud of the spiritual leader that she has become. Somebody said she's a force to be reckoned with. I would agree with that. Her drive is awe-inspiring. And she is filled with deep compassion and a heart as big as the outdoors that she loves to go hiking in. I love you, Michelle. Thank you for coming into my life and for dedicating yourself to this teaching that we both love so much. Happy ordination. Now we have the real work to be done. Thank you.
How do we do this together?
We're not going to do it in unison.
All right, we're going to
Okay.
do it one at a time. All right.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? Okay. So we are gathered here today to witness the magnificent ceremony of initiation, welcoming, and transformation. Ordination in Centers for Spiritual Living is an initiation of a licensed minister into the lifelong calling of ministry.
It is a welcoming on behalf of the family of ordained ministers of our faith, of one more into our ranks. It is a transformation opportunity for the minister that we honor today. Transformation into the state of minister for a lifetime. We ministers, practitioners, center members, and friends are here to witness this holy rite.
Reverend Josh, it is our honor to present to you the candidate for ordination, Reverend Michelle Arellano. And I think maybe you need to come up and stand with us now, because we're going to tell you what it really's like. Oh, no, Josh, you have some things to say.
Why don't you go ahead and stand between those two? There's a lot of energy up here. It says I get to make a brief personal comment, and so I just want to go in. It may be a lesson on how to hold space for Reverend Michelle and how she can hold space for you, but the term that I use for Michelle is tenacious grace. Tenacious grace. It's been mentioned, her tenacity, in so many different ways. She almost has an energy, you know, that I can accomplish anything, that type of creativity, that type of, you kind of get it from her physical being. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes. It's that excitement, but what makes Michelle so special is when it's combined with that grace, that ability to at any moment let go and surrender to the process. So it's not just tenacity, it's not just grace, it's this tenacious grace. And when those two things come together, you're on fire. And you support all of us in having that. And what I would say is, if you see her in too far of the extreme, you bring her back to that center, and that initiative and that trust and spirit comes through in incredible ways. But I'm such an honor. I wouldn't have missed this for the world. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm especially grateful for you and the blessing that you get to have in uplifting and nurturing this ongoing ministry that you all get to co-create together. So, dear Reverend Michelle, the set requirements for your ordination have all been met. And yet, it is that elusive component of consciousness that is of utmost importance. Therefore, I ask you, Reverend Michelle, do you feel in your heart of hearts, you come right up here, do you feel in your heart of hearts that you are ready for the sacred and permanent state of ordained minister in Centers for Spiritual Living?
I do.
Very good. So now, Dr. Reverend Pat and Linda will charge you with your ministerial commitment.
Okay, here is the charge.
Right here.
Okay. Reverend Michelle, the ties of a minister to her ministry represent a bond that is sacred, empowering, safe, constant, and with this ceremony, everlasting. With ordination, you step into a new life of spiritual service and commitment. Ministry, with its glorious moments of holy revelation and its challenging moments of messy group dynamics, becomes your lifelong passion, your own classroom, your crucible. Today, you enter into a path of no return because you become a minister for life. This union is to be undertaken with great consideration and respect for your ministry, for those people who comprise your ministry, and for yourself. Out of all the possibilities of giving your gifts to the world, you have chosen to be a minister of Centers for Spiritual Living. This is a tremendous blessing to you, and we want it to be a tremendous blessing to all, year after year.
Over the years, let me get the microphone here. Over the years, your ministry and you will change, but your unchanging commitment to the desires of your heart that brought you here today will ensure a life of sacred satisfaction in your ministry. I don't have to say this to you. Do not hold back. Give all the wisdom, the organizational skills, and all the love you have to give. Of course, love is the most important part. A minister must have a breadth of heart that holds others' hearts, comforts, heals, and remains deep enough to serve your own spiritual growth. Do not be an island. Seek the help and support you need. Get your rest and take breaks. Remember, you're committed for life, and life is long. Let your thoughts be centered on the divine and seek to see the Holy One in every person you meet. I charge you, dear Reverend Michelle, to go teach, heal, love, minister to all, and may the peace of God be ever in your heart, the truth of God be expressed through your words, and the light of God move through your hands into the world that awaits the mighty gifts that you have to give.
I think we'd also like to call Reverend Kimberly forward. We'll all get snug here. Reverend Michelle, the Centers for Spiritual Living wants you as an ordained minister of this denomination because you and your ministry are precious to it. You're a vitamin C for Centers for Spiritual Living. You have heard the charge offered by Reverend Dr. Linda and Reverend Dr. Pat. Are you prepared to take your vows to become a minister for life in the Centers for Spiritual Living?
I am.
Will you bring the very best that you are into your ministry for the love of the people you serve and for your own deepening?
I will.
Michelle, please fold your hands over your heart as a symbol of the sanctity with which you take these vows. Reverend Michelle, do you promise to love and to be loyal to the teachings of Science of Mind and to the center you serve? Okay.
I do.
Do you promise to minister to all those who come to you to the best of your ability and seek to see the face of God in all people?
I do.
Do you promise to maintain your own spiritual practice so that your relationship with Spirit is always fresh and new? And do you promise to promote harmony, peace, and right action wherever you find you are called to minister?
I do.
Now, please repeat after me. I, Reverend Michelle, commit to my ministry for my lifetime.
I, Reverend Michelle, commit to my ministry for my lifetime.
I promise to open my life to God.
I promise to open my life to God.
So that I may hear what is mine to do.
So that I may hear what is mine to do.
I promise to tenderly care.
I promise to tenderly care.
For all who come to me in spiritual need.
For all who come to me in spiritual need.
From this day forward, I will seek to make the world.
From this day forward, I will seek to make the world
A place of increased love, peace, and joy.
a place of increased love, peace, and joy.
I send my word forth.
I send my word forth
To heal and to prosper.
to heal and to prosper.
And I pray that God is fulfilled.
And I pray that God is fulfilled
In, through, and as me.
in, through, and as me. Yeah.
It actually says, put hand on shoulder of candidate. Shake, slightly, no. Beloved, and isn't she beloved? Yes? Yes? Reverend Michelle, because you have been found eminently qualified for ordination, and because you have made your sacred vows in front of your colleagues and friends, God, and everybody, by the authority vested in me by the Centers for Spiritual Living, I now confer upon you ordination as a minister of Centers for Spiritual Living. Congratulations.
Wow. So before we actually confer the stole, we have a little ritual to infuse it with your love. So in a moment, I'm going to walk down the aisle and I'm going to ask, like Wendy, if you'd put your hand on Nancy's shoulder. Each person at the end of the aisle, put your hand on the shoulder of the person that's more inward to the aisle, and just send your love and blessings to Michelle and to the stole. I'm going to walk down, and the end person on each row is just going to touch the stole so that we're imbuing it with everyone's good wishes and prayers. And Marisa. Oh. So we bless this symbol of a culmination of a long journey, a very dedicated journey. And what I know as I bless this stole is that every time you wear it, Michelle, you are infused with the love and the wishes of your family, your colleagues, your congregants, your teachers and mentors. Blessed be. Thank you.
So this gift from the Center for Spiritual Living is a symbol of the new life of an ordained minister. This stole brings with it the blessings of all the ministers here and all of us as just took place. It's a very important stole because it is a symbol, Michelle, of your role as a minister in this world. Every time you wear it, it will be a reminder to you and to others of your commitment to living a conscious spiritual life and of this journey which has brought you to your ordination. Your ordination stole is purple and gold, and though colors mean different things to different people, among people of faith, purple is understood to be the color of devotion, mystery, peace, and nobility. Purple combines the calm stability of blue and the fierce energy of red. It is trimmed in gold, which is intimately linked with divinity. Gold symbolizes wealth used wisely and represents illumination, love, compassion, and courage. The satin fabric is a reminder that your ministry, just like your life, is woven from the threads of many people, events, and understandings. And it is all of these many different experiences that make your life as as your ministry strong and a beautiful tapestry of truth. The smooth quality of satin reminds us that in rough spots of our ministry, that if we lean into our spiritual being, it is one of smoothness, beneath and ever present in the midst of life's challenges. Our Signs of Mind symbol expresses the triune nature of God, which continually reveals itself in the heart of our lives, reminding us that Spirit descends into and expresses as all form, that all is sacred and all is divine. Every time you wear this stole, you are linked with all of the clergy and spiritual teachers around the globe and across the centuries. No, take that in for a second. You carry upon your shoulders the form and the essence of your ministry, clarity, love, and the strength of a great philosophy and a rich and fulfilling way of life. This stole is a loving blessing to you and to all whom bless your ministry. And Michelle, I think I'm going to go ahead and have you stand out here so there's nothing blocking it. I'm going to call Michael, Ryan, and Tish up. And Brother Stephen. Good to see you. So they are going to place on Reverend Michelle's stole, accompanied by a musical prayer by Marisa.
That's calling me down into song, dark like coal, silent like snow, cocooning, tuning in to what I'm here to know. touched your hem, your fingertips. I've even brushed your holy lips, and still lay one more. The door is opening a crack. Sweet grace is looking back. No mother, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. Everything I surrender. I surrender everything. Mother Mary, sanctuary, I bow for you. Carry me to true as I learn to love like you. As I learn, Mother Mary, sanctuary, I bow before you. Carry me to truth as I learn to love like you. As I learn, Mother Mary, sanctuary, I bow before you. Carry me to truth as I learn to love like you. As I to bloom. We're born to bloom. We're born to bloom. We're born to bloom. We're born to bloom. Born to bloom. You're born to bloom. You're born to
I don't even know the words I can put to this. And Larissa, you're just such a special soul in my heart. And I carry you with me. And I love you. And that born to bloom, I mean, that just says it, right? That just says it. I mean, we're all born to bloom. And to be here in the presence of so many amazing people and ministers and mentors. I was thinking about it this morning. I was like, my soul did something right, because I'm surrounded by amazingness, you know, both in my nonprofit world and in my ministry world. And, you know, the universe has a way of coming in and holding us when we need it most, you know, and that shows up in different ways, shapes, and forms, and it shows up a lot of people in our lives. And this journey of mine, I usually choose the road less traveled. That's not a problem for me. And it's windy, and I go off-roading, and I go up hills and down side roads, and I experience it all. And so to be able to be standing up here today, like I mentioned a little earlier, is I've had people hold really, really big space for me. And it was like Pat said, okay, she's yours now, Josh. The space that they both held for me in the beginning, and then through this wild ministerial journey with Dr. Mora and my ministerial students, that we travel with each other still. We're in each other's hearts. We went through this threshold together that is so incredibly special. And then to be able to take the schooling, and for Rev Josh, to show me what it's like to be a minister in a center. And I remember one time I was struggling, and I had a big job, and ministry was a lot, and I wanted more in my life. And he said to me, it's your path, it's all your choice, but I already know you as a minister. You are already that. I'll never forget that. And then, I come to Oregon, and I've got these two beautiful women over here supporting me and helping me in the final journey of my ordination, and seeing the celebration and ceremony for me, and holding that space as I completed my final paperwork and went through my oral panels. And, Rev Dr. Linda Rapon, she prayed with me before I went into my panels. She held space for me the entire time. It's like those rocky times when I feel shaky and it's hard to stand up straight. I've got these people holding me up. They're my pillars. They're the ones that I stand upon as I stand here today. And I'm just forever grateful for that. And being able to be here as a co-spiritual director with Rev Kimberly Hopkins, and what a blessing that is, and the joy that we have together, and riding the bumps together through this co-ministry and sharing this leadership. It's amazing, and it can be a little bumpy sometimes because you just got to work through stuff for the betterment of all of us, and to have the space of being able to share this has been incredible. And, one of the things, I use Rev Pat in my classes so much because I was such a handful, and then I get handfuls in my classes that question everything, and I'm like, wow, she was really patient with me. And practitioner school, she was really patient with me, and that they all came to be with us here today. I mean, what a blessing, what a blessing. And then my amazing family, and all the love and support that they show us, and the bumps and the rides and the spinning and the circles and the craziness that we went through. To be here together and to love each other the way that we do is such an incredible blessing. And my boys going through this wild journey of even being introduced to CSL, and always being a support to me, and all of you, and amazing practitioners at CSL. I could just keep going and going, and I know that that's not right, so I'm not going to, but I just want to say that we are here to bloom, and I couldn't pick a better field of wild flowers to bloom with. I love you all. I appreciate you, and I'm so honored to be here with you today, celebrating this threshold moment. Thank you.
So we're almost done, but I get to say just a couple things. I am so grateful for you in my life and in the life of this community. And everything that was said here is so true. I love Josh's tenacious grace. Yes. And I want you to know, Michelle, that you model for us all. And it's not like she's out there doing it and doesn't believe we all can't do it. She models, you model for all of us that we are here to bloom. We truly are. And I just so look forward. On Sunday, we will both be installed as officially as co-spiritual directors. And I am just deeply grateful and so looking forward to riding the bumps and riding the, what do eagles do? They soar on the thermals, doing both with you. And it's so much more fun to be a minister and minister to a community when you have a partner, and especially you. I love you.
So did you see it? Did you see the moment she stepped through the portal? Okay, she doesn't remember when it is, so tell her at the reception, because I think we felt that part happen. It was, yeah, you're off and running now. So thank you for coming. Thank you for holding witness to this moment for our beloved Michelle, because it really, it matters, and it matters in our future as a community that we are together witnessing this step for her. So thank you for being here. Reverend Catherine is going to come do the benediction, and then I just ask that as we do recessional, we let Reverend Michelle and the ministers recess out first, and then we'll follow to a really fabulous reception across the hall. Reverend Catherine.
I feel blessed to close this auspicious occasion. And I have to tell you, Michelle, throughout all the reminiscing, yours, Las Vegas, and all of the other things, I just have this kaleidoscope of pictures. I know I must have had a stoic face at times because I keep seeing these things that happen. It's been 10 years since we all sat down together, and those that are not here with Dr. Moira, and began this journey. And I keep thinking about all those 5-minute talks, all of those long meditations, all those candles, all that bleary eyes late on Friday night. I mean, it was quite a beginning. And I kept flashing on different times. So all of that is in my heart. I've kept up with Michelle over the years, largely through Instagram. And so when I was here for the first time in this area, I had to go to Lithia Park because that's where Michelle goes all the time, and she takes all these pictures. So my heart is full as I feel the cosmos churning, but in this moment is pausing, because we are witnessing the threshold of a brand new beginning of something that is stepping forth. And very shortly, Michelle will rise and will take that first step, walking down that aisle as an ordained minister for life in the Centers for Spiritual Living. I bring it in my heart. And I know that everyone in this room and everyone in the sound of my voice joins in love, in celebration, and in an uplifting joy that we all have a good time for God and know what it feels like. And together we simply joyously say, and so it is.